Hey, what's up? How you doing? Hope your day's going well. So this is going to be my third video of the day. Uh, my second one got blocked immediately because it was music, and I'm not sure how all these people that react to music get around that, but I'll have to look into it. But I did file a dispute, and we'll see if it uh, gets unblocked maybe tomorrow or at a later date. So um, that was the video I wanted to share with you that I was talking about in my previous video. And my third video, which was going to be from a recommendation in the comments from a viewer, that is also music. So I didn't want to risk doing two back-to-back videos that might be getting blocked. And I'll do it. It's just maybe I'll hold off onto it till tomorrow or something, or the day after. Give it some space. But if anybody knows how reactors get around that, please share with me. Now, I have not reacted to this channel yet. This is Most Amazing Top 10. And this video is called Top 10 People Who Claim to Be Immortal. And the only immortals I know of are Duncan MacLeod and Connor MacLeod from Highlander. But other than that, I don't know anybody. So let's see what this guy's talking about here. Hopefully this is pretty cool. And here we go.
The oldest human being to ever live was Jean Calment. She was born in 1875 and died in 1997 at the age of 122. Everyone agrees this is the longest a human being has ever existed for. Well, not everyone. Some people say there are others much older than that. Some people say there are humans who have become immortal. Some people even say that they themselves are immortal. Do you believe them? Let's find out. My name is Danny Burke, and this is the top 10 people claimed to be immortal. Starting off at number 10 now, we have Alex Chiu. He is a 46-year-old man who claims to be immortal. How has he achieved that? Through the use of his immortality rings. He invented these small magnetic rings to be worn on people's fingers and toes to ensure that people's cells always heal properly and never die. Apparently, if the cells constantly regenerate, then the person never dies. He says he has modernized ancient Chinese medicine to make immortality accessible for everyone. You can actually buy these rings on Amazon right now, although I don't recommend it. They come in either black or white, although the black one costs more because it's stronger, apparently. Listen, I don't know how it all works. I'm just a mere mortal. Next up at
You know, this reminds me of like those wristbands that people wear that are like, it's like the copper one or whatever. It's supposed to like balance your electromagnetic field within you in your body. Now, what he was saying too about if you can regenerate your cells, you can live much, much longer, if not indefinitely, because that's what happens in the human body, right? Your cells decay and they, basically consume themselves over time. It's like new materials not able to be reproduced, and that's why bodies obviously look older as you get older. And I know that's what scientists are trying to solve with all the anti-aging things or whatever, but it sounds like Mr. Chu is got a gimmick and he's just trying to make a lot of money real quick and go live his dream. But 122, that's crazy old. I don't know if I've heard of anybody in this day and age living longer than that. That's a long, long life.
At number 9, we have Leonard Jones. He was an American politician born in 1797 who claimed to be immortal. More interestingly though, he claimed that anyone else could be immortal, you just needed the right amount of fasting and praying. He found a preacher that believed the same as him, and together they founded the Live Forever faith and tried to recruit people to found a city of immortals. While they were recruiting, the preacher died. Apparently, Leonard Jones was very much embarrassed when he had to speak at the funeral of his immortal partner. He then switched to politics and tried to run for US president many times, with his main policy being, his immortality. Sadly, he lost a lot of support when he died, age 71, and people say you can't trust politicians. Alright, at number 8 now, we have the Wandering Jewish Man. In medieval Europe, there was a story of a Jewish man who was there at the crucifixion of Jesus. As he saw Jesus carrying the cross, the man taunted him and told him to hurry up. Jesus then turned to look at him and cursed him to walk the earth until he returned in the second coming. His name was Ahasuerus, and countless people said they saw him wandering the earth hundreds of years later. Sometimes he was old, sometimes young, or even changed between the two. Others say it's simply a story of symbolism for the Jewish diaspora that have moved across the earth over the past millennia. What do you guys think? Moving on to number 7 now, we have the Immortal Monk. In 1927, the leader of a group of Russian Buddhist monks gathered his followers to announce his own death. His name was Dashi Dorzo Itigelov. He predicted that Stalin, Russia's leader, would persecute them, and he warned them to flee. Then he said he would return in 75 years, and in a deep meditation he passed away. Then many years later his body was exhumed. The monks were amazed to find his body perfectly preserved. His limbs were flexible and the skin was elastic.
Like, what happened to his face? like it looked like his head blew up like a balloon, and like his eyes and his nose and his mouth disintegrated. That's crazy. That looks way different than like the mummification of ancient Egyptians. That's wild.
In 2002, his body was put on display in the temple. It was 75 years on, and he had apparently returned. The Buddhists believe that he remains in a deep meditative state on the edge of life and death. Next up at number 6 now, we have Nicolas Flamel. You might recognize this guy's name from Harry Potter as the immortal wizard who created the Philosopher's Stone and was a good friend of Dumbledore's. Well, that fiction is based on the real Nicolas Flamel. He was a French scribe born in 1340, and records show that he died in 1418. However, hundreds of years later, in the 1700s, stories started to emerge that he was still alive. People said he was an alchemist who had discovered the real Philosopher's Stone and achieved immortality. There are people who believe Flamel faked his own death and went into hiding to protect this powerful artifact from getting into the wrong hands, and that he's still out there today. Coming out at number 5 now, we have Merlin. Merlin was said to be the legendary wizard figure at the court of King Arthur. King Arthur himself is a figure that is steeped in both history and legend. It's often difficult to untwine the two. Merlin was said to be half human, half demon. His demonic side was where he inherited his incredible powers and abilities, but his human side put them to work for good. One of these inherited powers was immortality. Believers in his existence say that you can find sightings of Merlin throughout British history, many hundreds of years after his time with King Arthur. Others say this is just retellings of the same story. The only way to find the truth is to keep picking apart the fact from the fiction. At the number
Now, speaking of like Arthur and Merlin and stuff, that story always fascinated me. When I was a kid, I read the Canterbury Tales and the about the Knights of the Round Table and the sword from the Lady in the Lake, and the whole story of Arthur and Merlin. And I know that while a lot of people think that it's myth, they do believe that it is based on some sort of true history. It's just most of any knowledge or records have been lost, that it's hard to actually like get together a known or precise or exact story on outside of what we have right now as to the historicity of the true Arthur and Merlin and all that. But I absolutely loved reading that story when I was a young lad.
fourth spot now, we have the Three Nephites. According to Mormons, Jesus visited what is now America after his resurrection. He chose 12 apostles, and when his time came to leave, 3 of them asked to stay behind forever to help humanity and watch over them. Jesus was said to have granted this, and Mormons believe the Three Nephites still walk among us today. As proof of this, they point to stories of kind strangers helping people throughout history before disappearing without a trace.
Yeah.
Next up,
kind strangers that disappear without a trace. Oh, I guess that must prove it. I mean, I call bullshit on that story. If you know anything about, the biblical story of Jesus, or the what's going on in the New Testament, according to what's in there, he's not coming back until it's time for him to come back and gather everybody up to go to heaven. So he's not coming back to start 12, get 12 new disciples and pal around in America. I don't think that's true at all, but that's just my opinion.
Number 3 now, we have Achilles. I'm sure you've all heard of the phrase Achilles' heel. This is the guy it comes from. He was said to be a legendary Greek hero of the Trojan War. The story goes that when he was a baby, he was dipped into the river Styx, the river that separates Earth from the underworld. This made him invulnerable to everything, even death itself, effectively making him immortal, except for one tiny thing. They held him in the river by his ankle, meaning that his ankle was totally vulnerable. He was killed by a poison arrow to that ankle in a battle, thus bringing his immortality to a swift end. Achilles' heel really was his Achilles' heel. Next up,
yeah, so that I love that story. I love ancient history, but I always was fascinated with Greek and Roman mythology, and all the old wars, the Battle of Thermopylae, and the battle for the Trojan horse, the Battle of Troy with the Spartans and the Trojans. And yeah, you would think his mother who knew that he would be, protected, invincible, or, to everything, if she dipped him in this river. The only thing she didn't dip was his ankle, which I don't know why she would not just submerge everything. But knowing that she submerged everything except his ankle, you would think that he'd construct some kind of like boot or ankle bracelet or something to protect that part of his body, the only vulnerable part of his body. And it's just a coincidence, out of all the places that Paris, who was one of the princes of Troy, could shoot him, he got shot in the only vulnerable place that he had. So that's pretty crazy.
At number 2 now, we have the Count of Saint Germain. He was a European nobleman who was born in 1691 and was known for his works in science, the arts, and philosophy. He was said to have attained immortality after drinking an elixir which he made through his mastery of alchemy. He travelled European courts where nobles were astonished to see he had not aged a single day in the 50 years since they last saw him. Many people said that he could live forever, even himself having confessed on at least one occasion to be 300 years old using the secrets of universal medicine. Records show he died in 1784 at the age of 93, but there have been countless stories of his appearance since then, even as recently as the 1970s. Alright, finally at number 1 now, we have Quanxi Huang. He was a famous Chinese emperor whose dynasty lasted 400 years. Some of the most famous works under his rule include the Terracotta Army and parts of the Great Wall of China. He was said to be so loved by his people that they thought of him as an immortal. This was a prophecy Quanxi was more than happy to fulfill, and he became obsessed with seeking immortality. On 2 occasions, he sent hundreds of people out into the world to find the legendary elixir of life. Both times were a failure. In the end, he died of mercury poisoning after he ate too many mercury pills given to him by his doctors to try and make him mortal. Oh dear. Well guys, I'm not sure how I feel about some of those stories, but there's no smoke without fire. Also, if there are immortal people out there, maybe staying hidden is one of the reasons they've lived so long. Thanks, as always, for watching guys. I hope you have a lovely day, wherever you are. My name is Danny Burke, and I'll see you all in the next video.
All right, Danny. Cool video, man. Yeah, and maybe if you're trying to be immortal, don't eat mercury pills. Maybe that's a good start. And also the one guy, he lost all his support after he died. Yeah, no kidding. That kind of like pops the or deflates the whole cult or whatever it is community of immortals you're trying to build when the guy who starts it, who claims to be immortal, dies. So that was pretty cool. Kind of hard to comment on this video, man. He just blows right through these top 10. So, but really cool stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and maybe I'll try to squeeze one more out here. I'm feeling pretty good. So thank you for watching. Appreciate your time, and hope you have a blessed rest of your day. Take care. Bye.